This area sure feels gloomy. Huh? Are Paimon's eyes playing tricks? Or are there
Visions.
visions? You mean all the visions that are collected from the Vision Hunt decree are put into this statue?
So you've already heard of the Vision Hunt decree. Before I try to explain, I should perhaps remind you first that Mondstadt is the city of freedom, and Liyue is the city of contracts. As for Inazuma, it's known as the Nation of Eternity. The Raiden Shogun is both the nation's most powerful ruler and its deity. The Eternity in question is her endless and unchanging will to rule over Inazuma. As such, she relies on the Tri-Commission to regulate the nation's affairs and the Sakoku Decree to limit the people's movement. The Shogun wishes to keep Inazuma in stasis, allowing the stream of time to flow from one end to the other without disturbing it for all time.
Seems like every god has their own will.
Of course, this is my own limited understanding. As for the reason behind perhaps the Shogun believes that visions grant people the power to change, and that her eternity doesn't allow for such instability to exist. Whatever the case, the fact is that the Raiden Shogun has dispatched the Tenryou Commission to scour the nation for visions, embedding each one, and this statue of the omnipresent god can be seen as Inazuma's symbol of eternity.
But if that's the case, wouldn't you say that the Raiden Shogun is being...
Only outlanders such as yourselves would ever dare speak out so directly against the Raiden. And yet, I agree. The Vision Hunt Decree is something that simply should not exist. And Miss Kamisato has been committed
Huh? Hey, are you okay? You look like your mind is elsewhere.
Sound? What sound? I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, you touched the statue, and then what?
Aspirations? Have you heard it before? That when a person's ambition reaches a certain strength, the gods look upon them with... That is where visions come from. In other words, a person's vision represents... So if what you just said is true, then the ambitions of these people are stronger than I imagined. Alright, time for the next stop on our tour of Narukami Island, the Kamisato residence.
So, this is the kind of place where the big...
Welcome at last to the Kamisato residence, honored guests. Miss Kamisato is
Is this the Shirazage Hime...
Yes. As the daughter of the Yashiro Commission, this is how Miss... Consider it a time-honored tradition within the Yashiro Commission. Forgive me if this is an unwelcome surprise.
Makes sense. She's a super important...
Please forgive my lack of courtesy for receiving you in this fashion. Especially following... I have awaited your arrival with great anticipation. And Toma assures me that you do indeed possess the power at present in Inazuma. In the name of the Vision Hunt Decree, the people's aspirations are being senselessly though the Yashiro Commission serves the Shogun, it is the people with whom we share close bonds. Given the contact we are required to have with them, and a commission's power rises and falls with the trust traveler. Lend us your power, and we can... Oh...
See, milady, it's just like I said. This will take...
No, please! Wait! Please... I will introduce you to the Raiden Shogun on one condition. You must fulfill...
What are your wishes?
They pertain to 3 whose visions were taken from them. Perhaps once you've met them, you will understand.
A warrior who guards a village, a former samurai who helped carry out the Vision Hunt decree, and a swordmaster determined to become...
Correct. Please do all you can to help them. I will await your return here. Then...
I'm sure you'll do great.
Where's the person?
Why are you doing this? Why leave all of a sudden?
Precisely. It's much too sudden. The children are desperate for you to take them out to play. Please.
That must be the guy Ayaka told us about. Let's go.
If you want it's clear that I can't claim to... Truth be told,
Seems like he's a well-respected...
You must... Tejima has keeping out the treasure hoarders, fending off... But now, we will gladly apologize if that...
You must be Tejima. So what's made you want to
Me? It's not a question of why I want to leave, but a question... True. But... And what made me want to come here 30 years ago? And why have I never wanted to leave? I don't have answers to those questions, because I can't remember anymore. In the past, I knew I wanted to stay here. But whatever resolve I had then, it's gone now. So I thought...
Okay. Well, in that case, if we help you rediscover the... But if you can't remember anything... Oh, maybe if you just try a little harder to remember...
Oh, that reminds me. Last time I brought Tejima some fruit.
I keep a diary?
Oh, yes, you do. And what's more, I remember...
Perfect! So if we want to keep Tejima from leaving, we just...
If you don't mind, we will leave you to find the diary. We should head back to the village to inform the others of...
One day, I'll be as great as Ryuji.
I wish it could be like this all the time.
This looks like Tejima's diary, all right. Let's see what we have here. Today, the villagers and I got together to cook dry braised salted fish. I messed up and burned. Today, I helped rescue a kid who had fallen in the water. I went kite flying today. The string broke. Seems like your average diet. Huh? Wait, I went to pray at the shrine again today and stayed there a while. The omamori you gave me has faded a little. Now that's the kind of info we're looking for. So this is the omamori. Interesting. Looking at... But anyway, if he had this with him all the time... looks like it's been disturbed. Must be something pretty amazing if it made him stick around for 30 years. It looks like a letter. The paper's... Konda Village. Sounds so familiar. Where is that place again? Huh. So the reason Tejima... But he's been here for 30 years! Well, let's go give Tejima his...
Well, I'll be. That's certainly my handwriting. But I have no memory of anything. Still, it's clear that I was waiting for someone here. Over the years, I must have made a note of anything interesting. Anything that I could share with her when we were finally... And just look at all the things that did happen. How could I have forgotten something so important to me? Love, regret, everything I felt. No, not as. After all, I've forgotten who she was. It's as if she'd never been in my life to begin with. I think maybe not. If this is something. Although, what if she were to turn up eventually, only to find I didn't remember so. When I think about it like that. How curious. Why am I thinking like this when I don't even remember who she is? Thank you both. I shall remain here.
Tejima seems to be dealing... okay. Seems it's just like Ayaka and Toma were saying. If you lose your vision... That certainly explains the state Tejima was in earlier. At least we were able to help him. According to Miss Kamisato, the second one who lost their vision is a samurai from the Tenryou Commission. They say the Tenryou Commission is directly controlled by the Shogun. They're the ones responsible for maintaining... But why would they take action against one... Paimon doesn't get it. Huh? There seems to be some commotion over there. Let's go see what's happening.
I'll ask one more time. Do you intend to withhold this month's emergency provisions?
The entire clan is counting on that food. We demand...
How many times do I have to say it? I don't know anything about...
You dare deceive us? Those provisions are essential.
You samurai think you can just do whatever you please? The Tenryou Commission will hear of this.
Oh, huh? And who are you? One of Kurosawa's...
What? We just happened to be... We heard the commotion and...
I see. You seem to have come just at the right time. This is Kurosawa. He's a samurai and a member... In the past, we'd simply ask him for provisions. He's keeping the provisions for himself. I just know it. We'll starve without...
No one seems to care about us. We used to think Kurosawa was a kind man. But he's shown his true colors. He's the same as all the other samurai. It's no wonder all the visions have been...
This must be one of the people... Maybe we should talk...
I've never even heard of these emergency provisions. I don't know whether it's rumors or whether they're trying to blackmail me. My own family can barely get by as it is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got other matters to attend to. And that's the first bit of truth I've heard all day. The Shogun's army told me that I was unworthy of my vision. And they said I was slacking off in my work. Apparently.
Well, that's strange. You were helping enforce the Vision Hunt decree. Why would you...
To be perfectly honest, I don't seem to... All I know is that I will perform certain things every month. And it's not just that.
Does it have to do with the missing emergent...
I didn't take any. Like I said, if I was taking them for myself, to top it all off, My house was just raided by treasure hoarders. Which is why, if you don't believe me, go find the treasure hoarders yourself. If there were...
Huh. He seems to be telling, but we better confirm. Let's go round up those treasures. We should be able to follow their tracks. They could...
We really outdid ourselves. All those samurai houses packed with goods. We really hit the jackpot. I mean,
You haven't seen anything yet. There'll be a lot. Today's just the beginning. I'll be leading you all on an epic journey. You demand, boss!
These seem like the treasure hoarders we're after. Let's teach them a lesson. Prepare to be blown away!
Try!
Shadow Raven, let night fall!
Picked.
oh, there goes all the Mora. We worked hard to steal that, you know? Come on, boss. Think of something.
Not bad, kid. You ever think of joining the treasure hoarders? We could use someone like you. Kurosawa. Oh, I remember. So he's the one who sent you after us, huh? Just our luck. I knew he...
So what did you see inside? Was it stuffed?
Food supplies. You kidding? That place was a complete mess. All we found was a strange... I didn't want anyone else to see it, so I was planning on opening it myself once we... But now that you've caught us, how about we make a deal? That little box for...
You've got a deal!
Huh? What the...
There's nothing in here but...
Yeah, a lot of them. And they all seem to be made out to the owner of a general goods... We better talk to this Miss Aoi and get to the bottom. As for you guys, you're free to go.
So, we redeemed ourselves for...
Shut it. Let's...
Welcome to Tsukumomono Groceries. We've got every... Or perhaps... There's something... Ah, so you're friends of Kurosawa, I take it? Perhaps you're here to pay...
Whoa! Let's not get ahead of ourselves. How did Kurosawa end up owing you so much money? Did he buy any...
Let me think. Kurosawa would come regularly to purchase large quantities of foodstuffs. However, the price of provisions began to skyrocket recently, and his salary was no longer enough to cover the cost. So
that's how he was getting those emergency But why did he have to purchase a usual amount? If the prices increased...
well, if you think about it, the citizens receiving the emergency provisions must have been carefully calculating how much... Kurosawa thought that it would be quite the disappointment for them if they found so he deemed it necessary to take on the debt
Wow. Kurosawa was... and no one ever appreciated what he did.
People's attitudes will always reflect their circumstances. In the face of if you ask me, had Kurosawa told everyone the truth about the supplies from the... Of course, I'm sure there would still have been some unrest. What he was doing... As for why he chose to spend his own money on emergency provisions and never tell anyone, if you're still curious, why don't you go ask him yourself? I see. That reminds me, it's most unfortunate. If he doesn't clear the debt on his name, he'll have no choice.
Sword?
Oh, didn't he tell you? He possesses a very valuable blade. I've asked him about its origins. He told me that it was a gift from his father, that it was... In hindsight, I regret that I never made an offer on it. Why don't you ask him about the sword yourself? Perhaps it'll even provide you with the... Oh, but before you go, if you would kindly...
But we did...
Information is also... Don't worry, I won't charge much for information.
At least we now know where the emergency provision... Let's go talk to Kurosawa. What are you doing here all by yourself?
I presented them with a choice. Either they left or I drew my sword. It turned out to be a real time saver, actually. Did you manage to track down the treasure hoarders?
That just about sums it up. It turns out that you really were distributing emergency...
Strange. Is that really the kind of person I was? I don't really have any such recollection. Why was I purchasing emergency provisions for everyone? And why would I put myself in such a difficult situation? But I could not deny that when I brandished my sword to scare those two away, I could sense that my body was somehow reluctant to do so. This sword was once... I remember once when I was young. I wanted to sneak out with the... What did he say? It would seem that I forgot many important... All I can remember now is my father telling me and said to me...
Hey! If you look carefully, there seems to be some... Can you recognize the words?
Virtue and... Somehow those two words seem to explain taking on seemingly endless debts to make others happy. I guess that must have been my greatest ambition, but what use of virtue and justice? I purchased the provisions. The Tenryo Commission seized my vision. And the very people I was so desperate... And the irony of all of it is, I somehow still felt I'm incapable of being a good person. Yet I'm equal...
Yet another troubled... When we get the chance, let's speak to Toma about Kurosawa's death. In any case, we must never let him sell off that sword. Yeah, seems like losing... Fortunately for us, you don't... Let's go find the next poor soul. The third person who had their vision taken is supposed to be a famous sword master. Paimon heard that he's the present-day master of Meikyo Shisui. This is his dojo. Luckily, there's some people...
Nanako, don't worry. Sensei will be fine. Those thugs that challenged the dojo were strong, but he fought them all off in the end.
Maybe, but... Things have gotten dangerous before in the past, but it's never
It's just because he's been possessed, that's all. Once the exorcism has taken place...
Hey there!
Who are you? I don't care whether you're trespassers or just here to harass us while Sensei is impaired. Don't make me draw my blade, or you won't live to
No! You got it so wrong! We just came here to...
Disciples?
Yep. We've heard all about the mighty master of Meikyo Shisui art. It's the whole... But then we got here and overheard...
From the way you're dressed, it doesn't look like you're from around here. Please, accept my apologies. We've had so many people trying to cause us trouble recently. You haven't arrived at the best of times, I'm afraid. Sensei got possessed recently, and he's still recovering. I see you are earnest in your pursuit. Okay, how about this? My fellow disciple Nanako and I will explain Sensei's situation to you. Sensei's name is Domon, a name I'm sure you've already heard. Though self-taught, he mastered the art of the sword to a high level. He once said that his goal was to become the best, and so, even while training us, But then,
Not long ago, Sensei had his vision taken away. He says the strangest things over and over. Junya and I have discussed it, and we both think, but if I'm honest...
The Grand Narukami Shrine?
You haven't heard of it? It's the largest shrine on Narukami Island. The head shrine maiden is reputed to have very close ties. Not that we'd have any means of involving the head shrine maiden, of course. So don't worry, Nanako. Sensei is... The exorcism will take place this evening. You're both more than welcome.
So, losing your vision can cause possession?
So you decided to come. It's a good thing you didn't arrive any earlier. You would have had to witness Sensei just now, when Nanako was attending to him. She heard him when she asked him who the people were. He suddenly looked panicked. It looked like he was in great distress. He was covering his ears, and all the while he kept calling those names. One of them was Anzai. He used to be a fellow disciple of Sensei's. Sensei wouldn't stop calling his name. The ritual has now begun. All we can do is patiently await the result. Please, excuse me for a moment while I fetch some water.
Huh? Who's that sneaking around? Uh-oh. Could they be here? We won't let them get away with it. Come. Seems they aren't here. Should we keep going further up? Is this definitely the right place? Let's look a little further up. Aha! Suspicious
How did you... Are you sure you're Domon's... Unless... I guess it's been a few years.
Excuse me? And what are you doing sneaking around?
Bad news? I'll have you know I trained side by side with Domon back in the day. I don't care to talk about that time anymore. But if you must know...
His senior?
Anzai. Yes, that's me. Because I don't wish to see Domon or anyone else associated with him ever. When we were young, we trained under the same sword master. Studying, I had begun training 5 years before him, and everyone looked up to practitioners of Make-Yoshi Sui art, seek to achieve stillness of mind. But Domon was different. The first thing he did when he joined was go straight to our sensei and ask him, with a beam. Sensei scolded him and told him that the art of the sword should not be used for such vain ends. I thought so too at the time, but Domon began making swift progress. Only then did I realize that it was Domon who had long since freed him. He was consumed by his singular desire to become the best in the world. He sought nothing.
Sure sounds like he meant business.
Because until he arrived, I was convinced that I would succeed our sensei. Of all the disciples, I was the most gifted. I had trained the longest. Domon's arrival changed everything. When we sparred, I lost not just the match, but my pride and my status too. Later, I heard that he sparred with Sensei too. Sensei was advanced in years by then, and after that I wanted nothing further to do with him. Deep down though, I still So, when I heard rumors that he had lost his mind, I decided to quietly come. So you see... Okay, you've heard my story. You should...
Seems like we got it wrong. Still, Paimon's not...
You're saying he isn't possessed? Does that mean he's just lost his mind? But how is...
Nanako, please.
I am sorry. With what powers I have, I can find no sign of it. But spirits may take a myriad of forms in this world, and all is certainly not lost. For I
Lady Yai? Is that...
the head shrine maiden of the Grand Narukami Shrine? That's wonderful news! Then Sensei...
Correct. Lady Yai is most knowledgeable indeed. I am unable to say for certain whether an Eve...
Excuse me, Miss Inagi, but I must ask...
That won't be necessary. All that is required of you is your timely arrival at the... I must leave now, but we will meet soon at the...
Who'd have thought Lady Yai herself would have taken notice of our sensei?
Do you mean to say that Sensei...
No, that's not what I meant. I just mean this is Lady Yai, the head shrine maiden. She has... Anyway, you should join us too, given that you've traveled all this way just to meet our sensei. We, the disciples of Meikyo Shisui, are...
Sure! After all, everyone sees... Who knows?